for the 76ers, Joel Embiid will start Game 1 against the Hawks.
Trey, what is the main goal of the team right now?
To win.
Oh, from way downtown!
Every single guy is trying to do too much. We know they're going to come out with a lot of energy.
A long three. He's got it. He is serving everybody. We are seeing something we never expected. The exclamation point, John Collins.
And I just want to play basketball and have fun.
Sure is. Hawks-Sixers Game 1 did not disappoint. After dominating the first 24 minutes, taking a 20-point lead into half, the Hawks had their hands full in the second half as the Sixers made a furious comeback to cut the lead all the way down to 3 in the closing minutes. Now, despite being outscored 70-54 in the second half, Atlanta able to hold on for the win. A small tear in his meniscus did not stop Joel Embiid, who started for the Sixers, scoring a game-high 39 points to go along with 9 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 blocks. Meanwhile, Trae Young continues to make NBA history. Not only did he become the first Hawks player ever to record 35 points and 10 assists in a playoff game, he also became just the second player in NBA history to score 30 points in each of his first 4 career playoff games against Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was the other. Ice Trae, talk to me.
It was a great start. We had a great start to the game. Guys were locked in and focused from the jump, and it was good to see. And the way we started in that first half, we just got to continue that. In the second half, I think we did a good job in that third, but late in the game, I take a lot of responsibility for the turnovers, and for kind of managing the game, I can do it a little bit better. And best thing that happened today is we won. We have a lot of things we can get better at, so I'm not mad about that.
How's your knee feeling after this game?
It's all right. Man, I don't know, but playing on the torn meniscus is, I guess, not easy. But it's all right. Just gotta keep managing it and hope for the best.
Stephen A., bigger Game 1 story, Trae or Simmons?
Trae Young. We all on notice. My emotions are over. I saw what he did to my Knicks. Saw what he did to me and my dreams, my fantasies. And
your hopes.
He just ruined that.
Crushed.
He just ruined that. All I wanted was for the Knicks to get to the second round. I knew they weren't doing anything after that.
Knicks fan ever was.
I knew they weren't going to do that and do anything after that. I didn't see this coming. The Atlanta Hawks are really damn good. These brothers can shoot. They can play. And Trae Young is a guy that Luka's Luka, and we get that, but Trae Young is something special. He is a star in this league. He is on the verge of superstardom because the biggest stage is what he loves. And when you love the biggest stage and you show up and show that you love it and why, that's what makes stars in this league. That's what makes your name for you. He strikes fear in people now. Right, his movement without the basketball, his quickness, his ball handling skills, his passing ability, and of course he is sniper-like tendencies. But the biggest thing is the people he's got to pass the ball to. Ladies and gentlemen, John Collins can play. All right, this guy Kevin Huerter can shoot the rock. Collins can shoot too. Bogdanovich can shoot. Silence the Sixers with that late 3. You can't leave them open. Who you're going to go. You literally got to pick your poison because they got poison all over the Atlanta Hawks roster. And I'm here to announce this on national television. 76ers don't win Game 2. This series is over. They're not beating Atlanta 4 out of 5 games. Not the way they shoot. Not the way they shoot. And Ben Simmons, I said this many times, he hit all 7 of his shots. His athleticism, his attack in the basket, his defense. Ben Simmons is special, man, but he is no threat from the perimeter. And because he's no threat from the perimeter, they get to key on some of the Sixers shooters the way the Sixers wish they could key on Atlanta shooters. That's a problem. And they're going to have to figure out how to fix it. I believe they can, but they better start Game 2. You ain't coming back from an 0-2 deficit against this Hawks team, in my estimation. Game 2 is the series for the 76ers.
The story was not Trae Young. Props to Trae Young.
because that Luka trade went from like lopsided to not so lopsided anymore. Whoever gets Luka still wins the deal, but Trae Young is making that trade like, oh, okay, we see you, Atlanta.
Remember, they got a first-round pick with him, too.
Yeah. The issue is not Ben Simmons either. It's not Trae Young or Ben Simmons. The real story to come out of Game 1 is Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers is a story. You know, we were talking earlier about the Clippers. Do you have confidence in Kawhi and Paul George, Stephen A? Mm-hmm. And I said, yeah. And part of that is because of Ty Lue. Ty Lue, like, we should get something straight. Ty Lue, I think he's now 4-0 in Game 7s as a coach. Mm-hmm. It's not just that he has the horses. It's that he can really coach. Doc Rivers is going to be a Hall of Fame coach. He's won a championship. I think he's a great coach. However, doesn't mean he's perfect. Everyone has these things, and the same thing that makes him a great coach, some of the same things can hold him back. For example, loyalty or being, intractable and stubborn. He does this thing where, so let's take yesterday, for example. First, he puts Danny Green on Trae Young, right? You want to save Ben Simmons for later in the game. Danny Green can defend on ball, but not a dude like Trae Young. So they fall behind. Then he does this thing, which he's been doing all year, Doc Rivers, where he plays an exclusively bench unit at the end of the first and the beginning of the second. That's when they got killed. That's when they got buried. Trae Young, Danny Green on Trae Young, it gave him a little lead, and then the Hawks, and then Doc buried him with this bench unit. Can't do it, right? Like, you're supposed to tighten the rotation in the playoffs. They go 11 deep, and they have some guys who are not playable now, like Shake Milton, and a few other guys. You really shouldn't be playing these dudes. So what happened? They fell behind by so much because Doc stayed with the thing he'd done in the regular season, which you'd think he wouldn't do in the playoffs. Then later in the game, he makes some adjustments. Ben Simmons on Trae Young. How'd he do, Stephen A? When you put Thibault and Simmons on Trae Young, suddenly, it wasn't like the first half, that's for sure.
Well, they trapped a lot.
And the Sixers caught up. Now, here's the problem. Doc just wasted a performance by Embiid, which on a torn meniscus, you can't ask that dude to do every night. I don't think he's going to be able to do it. Mm-hmm. So to me, the story is Doc Rivers. Will he be the stubborn old Hall of Fame coach who knows he's going to do it his way, or is he going to look at this and say, I can't do the thing I want to do, I can't do? Because Trae Young just showed you can't do it. Can't do it. Can't play that bench unit. You're going to get buried every game against this Hawks team.
I get where you're coming from. Because I would have never put Danny Green on Trae Young. Too small, too cat quick. That ain't the kind of dude that Danny Green should be defending. But that's not what I'm getting on Danny Green about. 2 for 7 shooting. I need better. Last time we saw Danny Green was in the finals. We were not impressed. There's a reason he's not a member of the Lakers any longer. Okay? They didn't want him. All right? And the reality is that game 5, he didn't get it done. We all know that. They took the Miami Heat out in 6 games. He goes to Philadelphia this year. He's having a pretty decent year. But Danny Green's a veteran. You got to show up for games like this. Especially when you're going up against an Atlanta Hawks squad who's going to score points. They're going to score points. Now, we would sit up there and say, hey, you know what? Let's take Ben Simmons and put him on Trae Young. Ben Simmons probably wants that assignment. But if you watch Trae Young play, forget the scoring. You know what Trae Young would do to Ben Simmons? You know what the first thing he'll do?
Foul trouble.
Give him foul trouble. Yeah, all of a sudden he's dribbling and stop and bump into him and then go flopping. And he's such a miniature.
That's why Doc held that matchup for later.
He's such a miniature dude. I don't need to do that to him because he will get in foul trouble. Because Trae Young can get anybody in foul trouble, right? But here's the problem. You got to put Ben Simmons on somebody, right? You can't, a guy like Thibault, but if you put him on the court with Ben Simmons at the same time, it's not enough shooting. But
between Simmons and Thibault, you got 48 minutes of defense on that position.
I understand that. But the point is you don't have the playmaking ability because Thibault can't do what Ben Simmons can do. And that's where your problem lies, which gets us back to the shooting. Because if Atlanta was a team that struggled to score from the perimeter, you could take your chances with exactly what I just mentioned. You can't because they got 4 dudes on the court that can light it up from the outside. You're going to have to find a way. And Isaiah Thomas and I have talked about this on many, many occasions because I said, when I look at James Harden, KD, and Kyrie with Brooklyn, Max, at the end of the day, the only thing that has a chance of stopping Brooklyn, you got to man up. You got to literally go one-on-one. I'm going to keep a body in front of them.
Philly is the only team with a chance.
At all times, I got to have a body in front of them with a hand in their face. This switching and doubling and leaving somebody open, you can't do that to Brooklyn,
right?
And you can't do that to Atlanta.
And the other thing you can't do to Atlanta is play Maxey and Thibault, and you can't take your whole bench and put them out there for that amount of time to end quarters and begin quarters. You're going to get buried. But they showed, Embiid gave you enough. You could have won that game last night.
No question. I got something juicy for you coming up. Guys, has the king been dethroned? We're talking the new best player in the world. Who is it?